What's up guys, welcome back from the YgoPro duel video. Brandish Invoked is a hybrid that I haven't featured yet, and I'm honest, I've underestimated this deck. This deck is quite strong, especially, you know, Invoked. We still have 3 copies of Alistair in our main deck in a TCG. 2 seems fine, you don't want to run too many monsters. It feels almost the same as like a Paleozoics, but instead of like, you know, you're running 20 to 25 traps, you're running a lot of spells. And Toon Table of Contents, it's also like a small sub-engine that, you know, fuels your spells and makes your engage or the other brandish spells more lively. It gives their additional effect, right? But in this case, the Toon Cyber Dragon is not completely a dead card. Potentially you can go for the, what is it called, Mega Fleet Dragon, but in all honesty, I've never went for that one. Most importantly, your Toon Cyber Dragon is just an extra light monster to potentially discard, for example, off of your Alistair Link monster, and of course it's like a, well, again, a light monster to go for a Makaba. So again, quite nifty. Anyway, the Brandish engine, of course, gives you some, well, I think consistency in the deck. You know, Engage is like a searcher on the other hand, but, well, it has like a built-in search effect, but on the other hand also can give you an extra draw, again, increasing the consistency of this deck. And I'm not really sure if I mentioned this, probably not, but the token generator, the quick play spell for Brandish, is also a 1-card Alistair, again, link summoning monster, link summon monster, and opening up 2 extra monster zones is something that, at least is something that Invoked lacked in the past, right? Anyway, he does have Masterpiece on the field. I'm not really sure if he knew that I had another copy of the Invocation in my hand. Not really sure about that, but okay, he does have the field spell through Draco. What is it? No, it's not Heritage. Diagram. Diagram indeed, but it's not going to matter too much. Not really sure why he searched Return earlier. Probably because of the Apocalypse being banished. The multiple copies of Apocalypse being banished off of Desires. But anyway, good game. Next duel I get to start. Okay, he does use the Edge Blossom on the Meltdown, that's all fine. Still had 1 copy of Alistair in the hand, and I'm not really sure about the spellbook engine. Well, I think you already have seen a couple of like lists from the OCG Brandish lists with Invoked. Some of them run the spellbook engine, some of them don't. But I think it's still okay, right? You have the secret searching out Blue Boy without or with or without Blue Boy in the main deck, that's still up to you. But again, if you don't have Alistair, you can potentially search out Blue Boy with secrets, you know, Blue Boy searching out the Destiny Draw, etc. Again, fueling your spells in the graveyard. The Brandish, what is it called, Spellbook of Judgment is so disgusting, right? Getting back those used up Brandish spells from your grave during your opening turn back to your spell and trap card zone is just so disgusting. Extra pluses. And on top of that, you know, getting like an extra token during your opponent's turn, or reusing like the, what is it called, the quick play Forbidden Chalice that also has like a brain control effect. That's so disgusting, right? Anyway, and also, yeah, pretty much the token giving you the extra defense if needed, right? Here using the, what is it called, the Afterburner, popping 1 monster from the opponent and potentially popping 1 spell on the field. But yeah, anyway, now it's just this deck's biggest strength is special summoning multiple times and OTKing your opponent. Again, thanks to the Link Alistair searching out multiple copies of Invocation, right? Using the Anchor, gain control of one of my opponent's monsters doesn't really matter too much, since the Fire attribute Invoked monster can attack all of my opponent's monsters, so it didn't really matter that much, right? Again, GG, well played. So another example, again, I get to start against ABCs, definitely a good start. This is why I like the spellbook engine, immediately putting at least 2 spells in your graveyard with token. That's a 3rd spell in the graveyard, and now it's just upgrading your Link stuff and getting back the Engage. Again, that card is so busted. Searching something from the archetype, being like a reinforcement of the army of the archetype, and on top of that, if you have 3 or more spells, getting you an extra draw. like an insane card, right? One Ray in the main deck level 3 I think is enough. You don't want, again, you don't want to run multiple monsters. I'm still thinking between, you know, adding an extra Alistair, making it like 3 copies in the main deck over that Blue Boy copy. But again, that's up to you. I think this is perfectly fine, right? Running 41 cards, you might want to cut it down to 40. But yeah, the Toon Table of Contents is not really too staple in the deck. Again, it fills the graveyard really easily with 3 spells and searches out your light monster in the form of Cyber Toon, Cyber Dragon, right? But it could be potential a dead draw, so that's up to you. You could like replace it with, what's it called, a Metal Foes Fusion and a Foolish Burial of Belongings. Like, well, Metal Foes Fusion could potentially also be a dead card, but you know, you can just set it and pop it with a Brandish spell, the Brandish Field spell. So the Metal Foes Fusion is not really that, well, like opening with it, it's not really too optimal, but still potentially giving you a draw if you use its graveyard effect. Anyway, the opponent does get to start. The Ash Blossom prevents the opponent from searching something with Duelist Alliance. He does use his own Ash Blossom on the Meltdown indeed. That's all good. Blue Boy getting me some extra draws. Toon Table of Contents, that's perfect. Netting me a couple of extra spells in the graveyard. And as soon as if you have like the Quick Play spell token or the Engage, the Rhoda of the archetype, you're set to go, right? You could potentially run something like Brilliant Fusion to give you the extra normal summon, since that's something I sometimes miss, like battling it out against the opponent's hand traps and then, you know, not having the Alistair set up or the Alistair summon search. But again, that needs like main deck space and potential bricks, right? Another example against ABCs, opening with Toon Table, that's all good. Also have like a token generator, so that's all fine. Again, giving you the 1 card Link Summon into Alistair. Potentially setting up like 1 or 2 Makaba, depending again on your hand. Again, going for the first Makaba, not really sure if I discarded the Toon Cyber Dragon, I probably should have. Anyway, double Makaba, that's all good, potentially negating a monster effect and a spell effect. His opening hand is, well, kind of good, right? With the field spell, double Kaiju isn't really too fantastic. But the Twin Twister is not really too great against this particular deck. You know, the field spell has that built-in search effect that when it's like destroyed by a card effect. So that's all good. Same with Cosmo Town or something like that. It's always cool. Well, quote-unquote cool if Konami, you know, gives your field spell that additional effect. Solemn Strike does make it somewhat tough. Not really sure, there was like a misclick here, but I forgot what I should have, at least what should have happened. Well, anyway, the opponent did set 1 monster, so this should be game over. Eventually going for the fusion for the fire and then you know, the trample damage, and eventually attack for a game. So again, both archetypes definitely they do well, right? Things go together. Anyway, the opponent gets to start here. That's definitely a good start. No hand trap on my part, so that's definitely a problem. No Ash Blossom, no Ghost Ogre. Mainly Ghost Ogre to negate or, you know, destroy the Electromite, so that's definitely a big problem. Also the Desire, so, and I believe he's able to end with Norito as well. And Omega, again, that's definitely a big problem. Negating a spell, super crucial against this particular deck. And Omega already ripping 1 card from my hand, right? Setting the Meltdown indeed. I believe the opponent's going to rip, yep, indeed, the Invocation from my hand. That's not really too terrible. The Spellbook Destiny Draw, I believe, is negated thanks to Ash Blossom. And the Norito negated the field spell, I believe. Okay, I still have a chance. Use the Engage, get some draws, right? But no immediate fusion summon here. So get some nice pluses eventually, but here for now there is nothing I can, you know, use to potentially rip his field apart. 1 Afterburner extra would have been a very solid. Yeah, the Ghost Ogre definitely sealed the deal here. The Ghost Ogre on the Spellbook of Judgment for Brandish, you know, that potentially could have gotten the token search, or you know, the Brandish spell that gets like an extra token. That would have been some nice defense, but nope, sadly his setup was just too good. So again, yeah, like always, all support is definitely welcome. I definitely like this deck. As I mentioned before, I underestimated the power of this deck. The advantage we have in a TCG is that Alistair is still allowed in multiple copies compared to the OCG. Then again, you don't want to run too many monsters in your main deck, like clocking with a field spell. You know, if you're losing like the Brandish field spell, you definitely want to reveal like a Brandish spell from your deck and immediately add it to your hand. Like always, like suggestions are definitely welcome. Instant Fusion is something that I might want to tech. Theseus, 1000 times restrict, to go for Needle Fiber in case of Theseus, that is right. Okay, so guys, feel free to leave suggestions, and like always, thanks for watching, and feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.